We are here today to celebrate my Oma's 80th birthday. For those of you who don't know, Oma means grandmother in German. I might call her Oma, but most of you know her as Anne. I'm going to talk about Anne's life and how she is an inspiration to me. Anne was born in Stuttgart, Germany in 1934 to her parents Joseph and Elise Whitman and her brother Werner. Her mother was a homemaker and her father worked for the streetcar service in Stuttgart. My Oma grew up in a hard time in Germany. Being born right before World War II and living through that, you could only imagine the stories she has to tell. For me, I find this so fascinating because I love learning about the history of Germany during World War II. As a child growing up during the war, it wasn't easy. There was a constant threat of attack at any time of the day, and as life goes during war, there wasn't always a lot to eat and live off of. But by the time my Oma turned 14, her life had begun to change. In Germany, you go to school year-round, so she was graduated and off working in the factories by age 14. She worked in a shoe factory from age 14 to 19, and this is where I think she gets her love of shoes. After working in the factories, she worked making glasses frames and also worked in a restaurant. In 1953, she met the love of her life, James Bowery. He was stationed on an army base in Germany, and they met each other at a dance hall. They were married in 1955 by the Justice of the Peace and had their first child, Sylvia, in 1956. Shortly after having their first child, they moved to the United States. This was a major shock for a woman who spoke little English. My favorite story of when my Oma first came to the U.S. was when she was taken to a Baptist church in Georgia. This was the most shocking thing to her because in Germany she went to a Catholic church and there was no singing and shouting like there are in Baptist churches. After living in the U.S. for a little over a year, my Oma had her second child, Cindy, in 1958. Being an Army wife, you move around a lot, and in 1961 they were in West Virginia and they had their son Jimmy. But 1961 was a hard year. On August 8th, her husband passed away after his battle with cancer. This left her a widow with 3 young children. But my Oma was determined to raise her children in the U.S., so she studied to get her citizenship to make this possible. After doing so, she raised her 3 children on her own, and this was very uncommon in the 60s when most people were married and raised their children together. After gaining citizenship, Anne and her 3 children lived in an apartment above James's parents. And there she was a stay-at-home mom until all 3 of her children were in school. After that, she bought a home in Monroe Falls, Ohio, and took a job with the Stowe school system where she was a baker. She continued her job as a baker until she retired at age 65. These days she fills her time taking care of her 2 dachshunds, Lady and Dixie. She loves to go for walks with her dogs and loves watching reality TV shows. Anne now has 6 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren. Okay. So here's the toast to you, Oma. You lived an amazing life so far and have persevered through so many hard times. You're one of the strongest women I know, and I hope you had the best 80th birthday. We love you.
We love you. Happy birthday.